And faint, don't all run out of the room. Make sure I'm okay first. Put me in the recovery position and then run out of the room. Okay? Remember, roll me on my side, because if you vomit when you're unconscious, you die. That's how the drummer from AC/DC died. I mean, the singer from AC/DC died. The first singer, the good singer. He passed out while he was drinking, and they left him on a couch, and he barfed and drowned in his own vomit. You don't want to drown in your own vomit. I don't think. I mean, we've all barfed. You wouldn't want to drown in it. And we've all been underwater and almost been out of air. You don't want to drown at all. One time I jumped off a cliff, and it was shallower than I thought it was. And I hit the bottom really hard on my back. And you know how if somebody hits you really hard on the back, you breathe out all your air? So I was down at the bottom, hit the bottom, and all the bubbles, and I'm at the bottom like, I made it because I'm here. But it was very frightening. So be careful when jumping off cliffs. Better yet, don't jump off cliffs. But you're going to jump off cliffs because you're kids and that's what you do. But make sure it's deep enough to jump off and not hit the bottom and lose all your air. Or like die. Right? Because and don't dive. Never dive. Because that breaks your neck. Jump first. And then check. Swim down. But if it hurts your ears, make sure you blow. Then your ears won't hurt anymore. Because you'll all get there and you're like, oh, I dove down to check how deep it was, Mr. Myers. Now I'm deaf. Always remember. Blow your ears out. All right, let's do math. Life lesson for the day out of the way. Math time. We've already done pyramids, prisms, cones, cylinders. Why have they been all together? Because they're all essentially the same thing, aren't they? They're regular shapes that you already know put together in different forms, right? Spheres are not. Spheres are their own thing because you can't draw a sphere, right? You can draw two circles and a rectangle and, oh, look, it's a cylinder. Mr. Myers, right? We all know that. But a sphere is different. And spheres are based on, of course, a circle, which means you got to use pi, which is a problem because, again, we don't like pi. Well, we love pi, but we don't like pi, right? So what we're going to do here, because it's only a formula, we're going to double up on 2 lessons here. I'm going to remind you of how to do algebra, and we're going to work with these formulas. Okay? Because you got to be good at algebra to do Math 10. So let's start with this. First question. Amber is going to wrap a basketball for her brother, which is, of course, stupid. She should put the basketball in a box and wrap the box, shouldn't she? Right? Then A, it's a surprise when he opens it. But if somebody hands you a sphere, I mean, unless you're like a geography nerd and like, oh my God, I've got a globe. You're going to be like, my sister bought me a ball, right? But it's math class. So we lie, right? We write questions in math class that aren't real life to make you do math, okay? So first question asks, are we dealing with surface area or volume here? Surface area, of course, because the wrapping paper goes on the outside, right? You do not cut the basketball open, stuff it full of wrapping paper, then sew it back up and be like, here, what'd you give me? A basketball. It won't bounce because I cut it open and filled it with wrapping paper. That would be stupid, right? So we're doing surface area. So we're going to use which of the 2 formulas? We're going to use the surface area one. Now, the question says, what is the radius of the ball? So, which of these 2 can I use? Or can I use both of them? I could use both because radius is simply diameter divided by 2, couldn't I? Isn't it, I mean. So whichever one I use, I'm going to be able to find the radius, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use 4 pi r squared because it's already got an r. And it allows me to show you more algebra because that's what the real point of this question is. Everybody cool? So, as always, when doing math, even though you're going to use your calculator to do all the work, you should write it out. Surface area is 4 pi r squared. What do I know here? I know this. The surface area is 2,500. Where does that number go in my formula? In for surface area. 2,500 equals 4 pi r squared. Now, here's where your algebra, for some of you, is going to let you down. Okay? What is pi? 3.14 is approximately what pi is, correct? The point I'm trying to make is pi is a number, isn't it? The reason we write pi is because we're not going to write 3.14159.874 forever, are we? So pi is a number. You got to remember that. So my goal is to find the radius, yes? Which means r has to be by itself, correct? So what math is happening here? What is this really? We write 4 pi r squared, but what is it? There's only 4 maths. What kind of math is happening here? Multiplication. That's 4 times pi times r squared. Yes? So to get rid of them, I have to do what? Division, because I have to do the opposite of what I see, right? So I got to divide by 4 pi. That's going to cancel out over here, and I'm going to be left with r squared, aren't I? But what do I have to do over here? Same thing. Now, here is where people screw up, because you're not actually paying attention to what you are actually doing. Okay? And a great many of you, if you try to punch this into your calculator, are going to get the wrong answer. What do you think you should punch in to find this answer? Tell me the buttons you would hit. Don't hit buttons, just what would you hit? You got to make a couple of decisions here. It's okay, Antonio. Keep sharpening. Nobody minds. Everyone's thinking. So, 2,500, you would punch that, then what? So you would punch, I'm just going to write it down, don't write this down. You would hit 2,500 divided by 4 times pi equals, right? Does that seem okay for everyone? Does that seem okay? Kaylee says no. Kaylee, what do you think that is wrong with that? If it's wrong. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. What would you change?
I would put brackets around 4 and pi.
You would bracket 4 and pi. Why?
Because you have to do brackets first. And if you do 2,500 divided by 4, then times pi is just going to multiply by 5. You need to divide it.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. According to BEDMAS, if I don't have these brackets here, this is going to do 2,500 divided by 4, which is going to give me an answer, and then multiply that by pi. Does everybody understand? But the question isn't that, because this question is saying that the 2,500 has to be divided by 4 pi. Everybody picking up what I'm putting down? So you got to remember to put brackets there. Is everybody cool? Okay, so again, it's not that the math is difficult, because you knew what you had to do. What's harder? Actually making it work on your calculator. The math you guys could do in your head, right? What you're going to do. The numbers you can't do in your head, because I can't do that in my head. But to make your calculator do it right, you got to know how to do it. Everybody cool? So now, before you punch into your calculator, I, in my head, do some quick division. Pi is basically 3, isn't it? 4 times 3 is 12, isn't it? So I basically have 2,500 divided by 12. Cool? So I'm going to say to myself in my head, well, 2,500 divided by 12 is about 200, right? You with me? So if this answer needs to be about 200, doesn't it? And when you punch that into your calculator, you find out that it is what? 2,500 divided by bracket 4. Now my calculator, I don't have to hit times. I can just go 4 pi. 198.94. Cool? Luda? So I got 198.94. Yeah? And then what's your last step? This is r squared. I got to do the opposite of what I see. What's the opposite of square? Square root. So I square root that, and what do I get? Whatever the answer is. I got it right on my calculator. Now, remember, I can't stress this enough. One of the giantest mistakes that you guys make is you don't leave numbers on your calculator screen. You hit clear too much, right? My calculator is great because it shows like the last 10 things I did, so I can go find the number. But many of you don't have a calculator like this. So don't hit clear ever until you know you don't need that number anymore. Because now all I got to do is go square root. That's the answer. So I use the answer key. That's the last answer I got. Then I hit enter and I get 14.1. And is Myers happy with that? Sure I am. I don't care about the amount of decimals. I don't care about any of that. I care that you've done the math correctly. Okay? You with me? Sometimes I'll say do it to 2 decimal places. Sometimes I'll say do it to 3 decimal places. It doesn't matter. Follow the instructions. But when there are none, just show me you know how to do the math. Everybody cool? No trick here, but there's rules. Right? Everybody good? Okay. Now you guys have a look at number 2 and see if you can figure it out. Because this seems like a math class problem, doesn't it? Right? Does this seem like a real life problem? Of course not. Read it. It's like, oh my God, that's a math problem. Why are you even talking about this? We should be doing real life stuff. But believe it or not, somebody has to do this math in manufacturing. Because you got to decide how you're going to package your stuff. Right? It makes a difference. Right? So how are we going to do this? What do we know? Can we draw a picture? How are we going to approach this problem? Everybody have a quick read. Give it some thought. And then tell me what you got to do. Would anyone like to volunteer something? Where do I need to start? Antonio. Okay, so you draw the cardboard box first. And what do I know about that cardboard box? 3 meters. I'm just kidding. It's 3 by 3 by 9. Cool? Everyone okay with that? Do I need to know that volume? Yeah. So what's the volume of the box? Now in reality it's a box, but what is it in math class? It's a prism, right? So what's the volume of a prism? Base area times height. So 3 by 3 by 9, right? 3 by 3 by 9. And what is that? 81 centimeters cubed. Everybody cool? All right. Now, what's in the box? 3 spheres, right? I'm going to draw a circle. There's 3 of them. So the volume of the golf balls, the ball is a sphere, right? So I look at my formula and I see that it is 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. Correct? That's one of them. How many spheres are there? 3. So if I multiply this by 3, what do I get to do? Cancel, cancel. So the golf balls are 4 pi r cubed. Is that okay? Am I allowed to do that, Antonio? Is this cubing or is it multiplying? It's multiplying. So can I do this? One sphere is 4 pi r cubed, right? 2 spheres, 3 spheres. So it's 1. So it's spheres times 3, isn't it? So is that okay? I'm not cubing. It looks like cubing because this would be 3 over 1, right? Okay, cubing, I'd put it way up there. You cool? Okay, so this is the volume of the balls. Now we have a problem here, don't we? Do we have the radius of the balls given to us in the question? Of course not, but do we know it? Yeah. So what's the radius? 1.5 cubed. Now again, we're at a calculator situation, aren't we? Right? You guys know how to do this, but everybody's calculator is slightly different. So you got to figure out how your machine does this. Okay? The way I would do this that would work on every machine, I would punch in 4 times my pi button times 1.5, and then some of you will have a cube button on your calculator. Some of you won't. What will always work is your exponent button, 3 and equals. Now your exponent button might look like x to the y or y to the x or x to the blank. Okay? You could also punch here, right here, if you have it, an x cubed button. But the biggest problem math guys face, math teachers face, is all of you buy different calculators. And then you're like, how do I do this on my calculator? And I explain it to you. And then you forget it the next day, and I have to lend you a calculator. How do I do it on this calculator? Or you borrow one from your buddy. How do I do it on this calculator? Or you use your phone, because it's math class, and I don't mind you using your phone. I don't know how to do it on my phone. Whose job is it to learn how to use your machine? Yours. I can't show 200 kids how to do it. So one of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options will work for you. You have to decide which one works for you. But before you do it, should you estimate? Yeah or no? I would. So 1.5 cubed, right? Round it up to 2. 2 cubed is 8, times 4 is 32, times 3 is 96, right? So punch it into your calculator and make sure you get something that is a reasonable answer. So my calculator, if it ever turns on, 4 pi, because I can go 4 pi, bracket, 1.5. I don't have an x cubed button, so I got to use my exponent button, cubed. Oops. Cubed. And I can get my answer. That's nowhere near 96, is it? Right? Why not? Because what happens to decimals when you square and cube them? They get smaller, don't they? Right? So I got 42 point whatever it was, I don't remember. 0.41. What do I do with those two numbers now? Because the question wants what? The empty space. So I gotta minus the volume of the box minus the volume of the ball equals what's left over. So 38.6 centimeters cubed. Now the question becomes, Mr. Myers, again, why are we doing this? Well, how much empty space is there? It's a question for shipping, right? That's the real life application of this. You got to ship those golf balls to Walmart, to Canadian Tire, to wherever. Volume matters because that's how much space it takes up in the truck. Picking up what I'm putting down? Everybody good? All right, now we have a bunch of business to take care of today, okay? One, I have your quizzes. I'm going to give them back to you. I want to go over them. But I don't want to do that until later in the block because I know as soon as I give it to you, everyone's going to stop working and it's going to be an hour before I get you back from your quizzes. So I'm going to give you your quizzes back in a minute. They are on Check My Mark, okay? Oh, you guys have your quizzes back. Oh, I'm such a dummy head. It's the afternoon class that don't have their quizzes back. It's Monday. Stupid head. You guys have your quizzes back. Do you have your Check My Mark passwords? I knew there was something that you guys didn't have. I'll be doing Check My Mark passwords today. Have you guys written down the numbers from your textbook on a piece of paper for me? That hasn't been done yet either. I got to hand that around. That's going to happen today. Okay? Everybody good? All right, now listen. Here's what we're going to do. I don't like the textbook work, particularly on spheres. So I'm not going to get you to do any of it. But what I am going to get you to do is your first job right now is sheet 1-6. And you got a lot of time to work on it. I would like to go over that in class. Okay? So get that done now. Then, these problems, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You guys have these next problems that end with the bike with the funny wheel, right? In your books? Yeah? That's your homework. Okay? So do the worksheet now in class. And then if you finish that, obviously start going on to these. I highly recommend discussing the problems with each other because they are written trickily on purpose. And I'll give you another hint. The drawings may or may not be misleading. Do you understand what I am saying? All right, everybody good? So sheet first, then these problems. Meanwhile, there will be a textbook page coming around to you. Now, please be the only class that can follow instructions. I have 3 other classes. They've all screwed this up. Name last 3 digits of your textbook number. That's it. The textbook number is written on the front. Oh, you got the teacher copy. How the hell did that happen? Bring it here and take this one. What'd you do to your ankle? You were moshing, weren't you?
No, I have a displaced fracture in my foot and several.
And you refuse to let it heal because you're a punk kid, aren't you?
I had it since July.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I hurt my knee pretty badly playing rugby yesterday. I haven't told anybody that matters in my life, like my wife. So I've been walking around the house without limping because she knows if I get hurt, she won't be mad, but she'll be like, man, you're too old for that stuff. I don't want her to say that. So, and then I won't be able to, she won't want me to play next weekend, and I want to play. So, I'm being tough, but I might be hurt. I might not. Yaron, you need a textbook as well, right? Is there anybody else that did not take and keep a textbook? Is there anybody else that needs a textbook because they weren't here Friday to get one? You need one, Alejandro. Okay, so I need to go get 2 more textbooks. All right, remember, name, book number. Some of you are going to forget, you're going to write all 5 digits. That's okay, but you don't need to. You don't have to worry about condition, amount paid, teacher's initials, student initials, none of that. Just your name and your book number, okay? You are working on sheet 1-6, and then you are working on those problems. Do not start the problems first. You need to be good at volume and surface area the easy way before you try those problems, because those problems are kind of tricky. Everybody okay? Go diddly-o. I need 2 more textbooks. I'll be right back. Kaylee.
My textbook is in my lap.
Go and grab it. If you need to get your textbook, go. If you need to pee, go pee. Kaylee. Pardon me? Yes. Yes. Oh, nice catch. Ivory, I would never hit you in the head. That wasn't even close. Why you gotta be that way? Is it what? Okay. All right, everybody's Gouda? Great. Oh, crap! X block. You are my B block class. Is there an assembly this week? I knew there was an assembly this week, so they're canceling X block? Damn, I just gave a big long lecture to my grade 9s about it. I should probably read that stuff, eh? All right. When we have X block next, this is where you sign up. If you hate my guts and you do not want to spend 2 hours with me in a row, make sure you do not put your name here, and make sure you sign up somewhere else. Because if you don't, you stay here. Now, I love you all, but you don't all love me. So if you want to leave this room, make sure you sign up with another teacher. Okay? Okay? Okay. You just meant it was funny, Haley. I was on a fine form. Right, everyone? Like, that was good. I'll be back with textbooks, even though you don't need them today. I need my keys. I forgot them.
You know how to find the height using the phone height and stuff? Like this height.
Hint, hint. Sometimes you have to do algebra. You might have to move a formula around. That's why the first question was what it was.
But do you know how to do that? Like find the height? Sure. I tried to look for it here, but I can't find it. It just tells you the formula. Sketching that out. Yeah, sketching that. Oh. How'd you do that?
Oh, here.
And then Oh, you got
I got
control.
extras just in case.
I didn't know that was funny how to do that.
Keep my feet warm. Because I'm too cheap to heat my house. Unfortunately, the school isn't too cheap to heat it, so I'm cooked. But I didn't wear socks. I don't want to walk around barefoot like an animal. So, if my knee wasn't sore, I would go down on all fours. I would scratch behind my ear. My foot like a dog. Can't. Yes. 118. 118. It's the same as yours. Creepy, eh? Don't worry about it. You know what? Put 2-4 on it. There you go. Look at all you guys doing math. Oh, yes? Yes, your pi button lives right there. Second function, pi. Okay? You're going to need one next year anyway.
Okay.
So if your parents don't care, then buy a graphing calculator. Okay. But if they do, you can rent one from the school next year. It will cost you no money. You'll give the school $50, and when you get back the calculator, you get back $50. But you won't have it forever. If you plan on going further with math in grade 11, then you should really buy a TI-83 or a TI-84. Okay. If you're going to go further than grade 11, you're going to do math 12 at school, they'll give you one. But if you're going to go to university and doing math, they won't. And you're going to need it. Okay. Calculator. The one you should buy. Now, of course, you can also, for free, get this. I have a graphic calculator on my phone. Apps exist. No, that doesn't graph. It won't graph for you. Okay? So you can indeed get graphing calculators for free, but you won't be able to use your phone on testing. Right? So it's up to you. This calculator will do everything you need to get through grade 10. So it's just up to you, whatever you want to do.
I left my homework in this.
Oh.
I was like,
some notes. So you can either watch YouTube later, and we're doing sheet 1.6 in class. We're going to go over it in class, and then the rest of the next like 4 questions in your notes are problems that when all my screen is clearer you would see better. That's the homework. Okay? Now, guys, yes, guys, I'm going to, in a moment, well, not a moment, obviously, duh, but I'm going to do the worksheet. I'm going to put the numbers, the right numbers on the board in a bit with the calculations that I do. You can check, make sure you've done it right, okay? It shouldn't take too long. And it's 10:23, class goes till almost 11. So what do we figure by, is 10:35 enough time to finish sheet 1-6, 12 more minutes? I'll check back to you at 10:35. Okay? Carry on. I'll be walking around assisting if needed. I will also assist if you finish the worksheet and get on to the problem. You're an interesting cat. I read you.